Hello everyone and welcome to the Solo Gamers Club. Tonight I'm going to kick off the Halloween month with a playthrough of A Touch of Evil 10-year anniversary edition. I want to thank everyone that participated in my poll where I asked what spooky game would you like to see on the channel in October. The results were Final Girl 17%, Eldritch Horror 16%, Arkham Horror 2nd Edition 27%, A Touch of Evil 30%, and Nemesis 10%. As you saw in the prologue, we'll be playing against the Shadow Witch. In tonight's playthrough, I'll be using the advanced rules for the villain. I'll be using the Monster Hunter level of difficulty, which will use the cooperative shadow track and the advanced co-op mystery phase chart. Normally, I play the game with some optional rules, Endurance of Evil and Hunting for Clues, but considering the abilities of the Shadow Witch, I'm going to withhold those and we're going to play with the rules as written. In addition to the base game, this playthrough will include the big box expansions Something Wicked and The Coast, along with the supplements Hero Pack 1, Hero Pack 2, Haunted Shores, Hero Upgrades, Dark Revelations, The Allies, and The Madness. We'll be facing off against the ghost of Elaine Bartlett, the Shadow Witch. She begins the game with a combat value of 4 and 20 health. We will be operating 4 heroes, so we're going to take her health of 5 and multiply that by 4, and that's the 20 health that she'll have. Although her initial combat value is relatively low, her special rules and advanced abilities have the potential to turn her into a formidable foe. Her special rule includes Revenge. She will gain +1 combat for every mystery card that currently remains in play. This means that the heroes will need to uncover event cards or items that will aid them in discarding those pesky Remains in Play cards. And that Revenge ability reads, accused of witchcraft and hanged for her crimes, the vengeful spirit of Elaine Bartlett has returned on All Hallows Eve with a growing strength born of magic and hate. Her advanced abilities include Spectre, which is going to gain her a +1 combat against any hero with less than Spirit 4. The heroes may be able to mitigate this by training their spirits at the church or acquiring items from the various corner locations or town, monastery, or coast item decks. Her Witch's Lair ability is extremely powerful, and that gives her a +6 combat during the showdown. The heroes will be able to mitigate this as well by acquiring clue markers, and we'll look at that more closely when we get to her On the Trail of Evil ability. Her Hypocrisy Revealed ability is going to gain her an additional +2 combat for every little secret card that's attached to a town elder taking part in the showdown. This is going to make the selection of our hunting party a little more difficult. Theoretically, if both of the town elders that we select for the hunting party had little secrets, we'll be giving her an additional +8 for that. So it's going to be very difficult in trying to find elders that do not have that capability, or characteristic, I should say. Now we get to her On the Trail of Evil ability, and that forces the heroes to retrace the events that led to Elaine's execution 100 years ago. This will involve obtaining clue markers, which will reduce the Shadow Witch's combat abilities. Clue markers are not investigation tokens, they're different, and those are specific just to the Shadow Witch. During the setup, each of the investigators are going to gain a lair card, and they would be able to travel to that location and obtain a clue marker. And then based on the number of clue markers they have, it's going to provide us with a dice roll, I should say with a modifier to the Shadow Witch's combat ability. If the hero has 1 clue marker, he'll gain a -1 combat to the Shadow Witch's combat ability. If he has 2, it's -3. And if it's 3, it's -6 combat. And that will basically erase her Witch's Lair ability. Also, for every clue marker over 3, the Witch is an additional -1 combat. So those clue markers are going to be extremely important. The problem is, these are going to be in random locations around the board. And depending upon where those locations are, could be a lot of travel involved. And then we get to the Guilty Shall Pay ability. And that says anytime the mystery card Murder is played, roll a d6. Any town elder with honor equal to or less than the roll is going to gain a transformation marker. And then anytime that town elder has transformation markers equal to or greater than their spirit, they're immediately killed and removed from the game. And that's also going to place a Shadow Specter in a random space on the board, which will represent their tormented souls. Now, the elders that are going to be most susceptible to that Guilty Shall Pay are going to be Dr. Manning, Magistrate Croft, and Lady Hanbrook. They either have extremely low spirit values or low honor levels. And we'll have to see what we can do about that. There's very little we can do to mitigate that, but we'll have to try. And lastly, she has Solomon. Elaine's pet cat wanders Shadowbrook, spreading misfortune wherever he goes. At the start of the game, we're going to place the familiar cat token in a random space, and I've selected that, and that's going to be at the windmill. And what's going to happen is at the start of each mystery phase, we're going to draw a random location card, a layer card, and the cat is going to take the most direct route to that location. If the cat passes through a space occupied by one of the heroes, we're going to have to make a die roll on Solomon's chart. And that can range from discarding items, losing investigation, taking wounds, etc. Now we have, there is one set of modifiers for that chart, and that's anyone with the keyword strange gets to add +1 to that roll on that chart. And any heroes that have the holy keyword would have to subtract 1. Now we do have a couple characters, Cartwright and Stern. They have the keyword strange, so they'll be gaining a +1 DRM. And that has the ability eventually for them to, if they were to roll a modified roll of 7, they would gain D6 investigation tokens or clue. So those two characters are less susceptible to the effects of Solomon. Now we're going to turn to our heroes that we'll be playing during the game. Our first one is Isabella von Tuch, the noblewoman. She has above average skills, but she lacks endurance, having only 2 health boxes. However, she can mitigate this by acquiring defensive items or through the use of her manipulation ability. With this powerful ability, she can discard an ally item or investigation token to prevent a wound to herself. Given these realities, we want Isabella to acquire as many items and allies as possible, thus fueling her manipulation ability. She's going to begin the game as our first player, and her clue card is going to be at the Icy Waters. Next up is Frederick Leon. He is a diplomat. Frederick is blessed with a strong Cunning 4 ability, but he lacks in spiritual and combat training. He can offset this lack of combat ability by using his powerful escort ability, which will allow him to acquire a paid escort of militia to travel with him. His diplomacy ability is powerful as it allows him to examine the secrets of the elders without the need of revealing them, and that may end up being more important to us than we realize when we consider the Guilty Shall Pay ability of the Shadow Witch, and with her ability of Hypocrisy Revealed, where she's going to gain a +2 combat for every little secret card on a town elder that is taking part in the showdown. So his ability would give us a much better chance at investigating these elders and finding out their secrets, which will be important. He's going to begin the game with a clue card that's going to be at the beach. Next up is Heinrich Cartwright, and he is the Drifter. Heinrich starts the game at the crossroads, giving him a quicker access to the Echo Lake and Tidewater regions. His outstanding Spirit 4 ability will offset one of the Shadow Witch's abilities, and his Resourceful ability will allow him to acquire more powerful event cards, and this should lead him to travel to dangerous locations seeking strong event cards. He's going to begin the game with a clue card, and that's going to be at the inn. And lastly, we have Abigail Stern, and she's a student of the occult. Although her skills are below average, her occult knowledge and student abilities might be combined to turn her into a powerful ghost hunter. She will need to focus on obtaining book and occult items that will give her attack and defense bonuses. And her starting clue card will begin with the North Dock. Now off to the left-hand side of their displays, I have their upgrade cards, and those will be available to us by paying 10 clue tokens and discarding an event card. And then that hero will have that ability and the extra skill bonuses for the rest of the game, but it's an expensive item to obtain. One last thing I should explain is regarding those starting layer cards that each of the heroes begin the game with. Now, in addition to them being able to travel to those locations and acquire clue markers, they can also be used in the standard fashion to begin a showdown. But instead of paying the cost that is listed on the card, the hero has to pay the cost of the stage that the Shadow Track is currently in. Alright, we are ready to begin the game, and we're going to begin with our first player, and that's Isabella Von Tuke, the noble woman, and she's at the town hall in Shadowbrook. Now, Isabella has pulled the layer card Icy Waters, and that's where she's going to have to travel to obtain a clue marker. And obviously that is a long ways away, so the fastest way, I think, for Isabella to get there would be to use the secret passage at the abandoned keep, and then she would come out at the Smuggler's Cove, and then she could travel to the Icy Waters. So I think that's what she'll end up doing. We'll begin with Isabella's move phase. Here's her roll. And she rolls a 6, so that's plenty of movement for her to get to the abandoned keep, so we'll move her there. 1, 2, 3, and 4 to the abandoned keep. All right, and there's no enemies that she has to encounter there, so we're going to encounter the space as a part of her take actions phase. We'll draw an abandoned keep card. And right out of the gates, Isabella discovers a specter, minion, and ghost. Has 2 fight dice, 3 health. We'll get a reward of 3 investigation if we are able to defeat it, and it has the special ability, must use spirit instead of combat when fighting the minion. All right, and we'll switch to the first round of combat. Isabella will be rolling the white dice, and the Spectre will be rolling the black dice. Hits will be achieved on a result of 5 or 6. Isabella's spirit is a 3, she'll be rolling 3 dice, and the Spectre has 2 fight dice. Okay, here is the roll. All right, the roll is there are no hits for Isabella, 1 hit. The Spectre did onto Isabella Von Tuke, so we will mark her with 1 wound token. And now we have to decide. Isabella only has 2 health boxes, so I don't think we're going to be able to get 3 hits in a single roll to defeat the Spectre. So I think what we are going to do is Isabella is going to escape. Isabella is going to escape to the road space outside the abandoned keep, and we'll place that wound token that she received on her card. She has 1 health box remaining, and that's going to end her turn. Whenever you escape, your turn ends. All right, next up is Frederick Leon, and his clue card or clue location is going to be the beach, once again in the coast board. So he's got a long way to travel there. we'll have to decide which path is best for him. He also could go through the abandoned keep and come through the Smuggler's Cove area, but he also could travel overland and attempt to pick up some investigation points on the Echo Lake board. So we'll see how Frederick's move roll goes first. All right, Frederick is rolling for movement, and he rolls a 5. All right. We'll place that movement die next to him as a marker, and then we'll decide what he wants to do. Now we also have to keep in mind Solomon. Now if Solomon moves to another location on the map, he's going to take the most direct route to there. Now obviously, being on the windmill, he's going to have to cross this crossroads area, so that's probably a definite dangerous bottleneck there. If he has any movement that's going to be on the Echo Lake or coast board, he's going to go through that crossroads. So that is definitely going to be more dangerous than some of the other areas. And I think Frederick is going to use his movement points to go to the abandoned keep, so we'll move him there. 1, 2, 3, and 4 to the abandoned keep. There's no enemies there, so he's going to encounter the space. And the card's revealed to be a relic, item, and ward. It's going to give him +1 to cunning, and he can discard it to prevent all wounds just done to him from one source. That is a great card for Frederick. All right, Frederick could technically continue on with his turn. He has other options that he can do. One of them would be his escort ability. He can pay 2 investigation as an action to take a militia marker, and that militia marker is going to follow him wherever he goes on the board. The problem with that is we're going to need investigation tokens in order to purchase these clues once we reach the clue location. So I think we'll hold off on that, and that's going to end Frederick's turn. We'll move on now to Heinrich Cartwright. All right, Heinrich is going to attempt to get to the inn. Now the problem with that is it's going to take a total of 3 investigation to claim that clue token that's going to be there. But Heinrich he's currently at the crossroads. He'll be passing through the bog there, and he'll be able to pick up some investigation that way. All right, we'll make Heinrich's movement roll. And he rolls a 5. Okay, that's great. So he's got 5 movement points available to him for this turn. And Heinrich was going to move to the inn, so he'll move 1, 2 into the bog, and with the new 10th edition rules, we're able to pick up 1 coin of investigation when we pass through an area. So we'll add that to his total, gives him 3. And this will be his 3rd and 4th movement point. And he's reached the inn. Now if we examine the On the Trail of Evil advanced ability that the Shadow Witch has, it says that the heroes are going to be retracing the events of the past to find clues. After encountering a space, the hero, if the hero has a layer card for that space, he may reveal it and discard it, paying the investigation shown on the card to gain a clue marker. So we have to do that after we encounter the space. So we will encounter the inn first. The inn has a special ability. It says before encountering, gain 2 investigation or heal a wound. Well, Heinrich is not wounded, so he is going to take the 2 investigation, and that's going to bring his total up to 5. And now we are going to have an encounter at the inn. The card's revealed to be the Dark Lodge Room. Investigation Room. Your head swims as the red curtains and black pattern on the walls seem to vibrate and shift before your eyes. Something evil lives here. It's like a dream you can't escape. Make a Spirit 6+ test and gain 4 investigation for every 6 rolled. It also says if the test is failed, you emerge from the room, but is it really you or a dark reflection that has escaped? All right, Heinrich has a spirit value of 4. So that is outstanding, and he's going to make that roll with 4 dice then. And here's the roll. And he has no successes, unfortunately. All right, there's no damage from that by failing the test. Just the flavor text says that, is it really you or a dark reflection that has escaped? All right, so that card will be discarded, and Heinrich is going to take advantage of the clue card he has. And that's at the inn. He can pay 3 investigation, and he's going to be able to gain a clue. Now the rules for the Shadow Witch state that you can use any tokens you wish to represent the clue tokens. I'm going to use these metal silver coins that I've got from that I use for various games, and we'll give that to Heinrich, and that'll be his first clue, and that's great. Heinrich still has 2 investigation tokens remaining, but I think he's going to save those. And incidentally, as soon as you complete one of the clues, you get to draw another layer card, and then that becomes your next location where you can get clues at. So this time it's going to be at the abandoned keep. So that's where he's going to have to head to gain his next clues. And that's going to end Heinrich's turn. We'll move on to Abigail Stern, student of the occult, and she's at the town hall in Shadowbrook. All right, Abigail's target will be the North Dock on the Echo Lake board. That's where her clue card is. Those clues are going to be absolutely vital to have any chance to defeat this Shadow Witch. She's going to be gaining +6 combat during the showdown, so the only way we can mitigate that is for each of the characters to try to get 3 clues or more, and that would at least wipe out that advantage that she has. Otherwise, we'd be going into this combat, she'd be rolling 10 combat dice, which would make this probably a very quick fight. And we'll make a movement roll for Abigail Stern. And she rolls a 3, so she's got 3 movement points available. And I think Abigail is going to make her way towards the North Dock, and she'll do that over land. I think that's our best bet. We also could use the secret passage in the manor. That is another possibility. Maybe we will do that instead. So I think Abigail's going to take the path to the northwest towards the manor. Her clue card at the North Dock will only cost her 1 investigation. So when we pay the 1 investigation to use the secret passage, she'll still have at least 1 remaining. So we'll have her use her 3 movement points, 1, 2, 3, moving towards the manor. And that is going to bring the hero's phase to a close. All right, now we're going to move on to the mystery phase, and at the start of the mystery phase, Solomon is going to move to a random location. So we'll draw a layer card and see where he's going. And he's going to the abandoned keep. Oh. All right, so Solomon is going to take the most direct path from the windmill to the abandoned keep. And unfortunately, Solomon is going to cross paths with Isabella von Tuch on the road space. Now, anytime that cat crosses the path, meaning moves into a location with the hero is going to have to make a cunning test. It'll be a cunning 5+ test, and if the hero is able to pass it, they're going to gain an investigation for each success. However, if they fail, they'll be rolling on Solomon's chart, and nothing but bad news will happen from that. So we're going to have Isabella do a cunning test. Now, her cunning is a 3. And here's Isabella's cunning 5+ test. She has 1 success, so that's going to earn her an investigation token, and she'll have no ill effects from Solomon. But Solomon's going to continue with his move to the abandoned keep, and there he's going to cross paths with Frederick Leon. Once again now, Frederick is going to have to pass a cunning test. His cunning is a 4, and he gains +1 for the relic, so he'll be rolling 5 dice for this test. So the Solomon isn't always a bad thing, but it potentially can be bad. Okay, here is Frederick's cunning 5+ test. And unfortunately, he rolls no successes. Not good. So that means Frederick is going to have to roll on Solomon's chart. All right. Now, Solomon's chart, there are 2 potential dice roll modifiers. If the hero has the keyword strange, they would add +1 to the roll, and if they have holy, it'll be -1 to the roll. So he has neither of them, so this is the Solomon's chart roll against Frederick Leone. The roll is a 2, and that says draw a mystery card, which is always bad. So Frederick will be drawing and resolving a mystery card. And the mystery card is revealed to be Veil of Darkness, Mystery. While this card is in play anytime a hero is KO'd, move the shadow track 2 steps closer to darkness, and that's a remains in play card. And we know from the Shadow Witch's abilities that those mystery cards that remain in play are going to have a negative effect on us. The Shadow Witch's Revenge ability will give her +1 combat for every mystery card currently remaining in play. So we'll place that Veil of Darkness card on the Shadow Witch's stand, and that is currently remains in play until we cancel it. Alright, our next actionable step in the mystery phase is going to be to roll on the cooperative mystery phase chart. And here's the roll. Roll is a 7, and that's Surge of Evil. Roll once on the villain's minion chart and work out the result. If it is a minion or if the villain attacks, draw a random location for placement. Alright, we'll consult the minion chart, and that'll be a 1d6 roll. And we'll see what happens. Here's the roll. Rolls a 4, and that's Living Trees. Minion Magic Plant. It has 3 fight dice, 4 health, and we'll gain a 5 investigation reward for defeating it. It has special abilities, Pack. When Living Trees is rolled, place a Living Tree minion in an additional random location as well. So we'll be drawing 2 cards for this. 2 locations. It also has Smash. The enemy's fight dice only hit on a 6 instead of the normal 5 or 6, but those fight dice rolls of 6 will count as 2 hits. It has one problem, and that's flammable. Any hero carrying at least 1 keyword fire item may roll an extra 2 fight dice against the Living Trees, so that's great. And because of the Living Trees pack ability, we'll be placing 2 of those creatures. One is going to be at the inn, which is where Heinrich Cartwright is, and another one at the Old Woods. We'll place one appropriately at the Old Woods. That's where you'd expect a living tree to be. And unfortunately, one appears at the inn, and that means that Heinrich is going to have to combat that creature immediately. Alright, Heinrich has a combat value of 2, and that's going to entitle him to roll 2 dice. He'll be hitting on a 5 or 6. The Living Trees have a fight dice ability of 3 with 4 health. Now they only hit on the result of a 6 with their Smash ability, but unfortunately any 6s count as 2 hits. Okay, here is the roll. Alright, Heinrich has done no hits, and unfortunately the Living Trees hit Heinrich with a Smash, and that's going to cause 2 wounds to him. Oh! So we're going to mark Heinrich with 2 wounds, and I think he is going to escape. And his next location is the Abandoned Keep, so I think we'll have him escape to the road space just south of the inn. We'll mark him with the 2 wounds, and that's going to end the encounter, and that Living Trees will remain there, unfortunately. So our heroes have definitely been under pressure right out of the gates. We'll continue on with the mystery phase, and the next step is to draw a mystery card. Now the mystery phase is resolved by the first player, so any actions that result from this, the first player is the one that will be dealing with this. And we draw the card Murder, Mystery, Death. The villain has struck again. Place 3 investigation on the board at a random location and move the shadow track 1 step closer to darkness. Flavor text reads, the Order of the Crimson Hand could be anyone. Their influence runs deep. All right, now this is also going to kick off another ability of the Shadow Witch, and that's the Guilty Shall Pay. Anytime the mystery card Murder is played, roll a d6. Any town elder with horror equal to or less than the roll gains a transformation marker. And if those elders ever have transformation markers equal to their spirit, they're going to be killed, and a shadow specter will appear randomly on the board, marking their tortured souls. So we'll begin by resolving the card, and we do that by placing 3 investigation in a random location. And that is going to happen at the lighthouse. All right. We place 3 investigation at the lighthouse. And the other effect on the card is that's going to move the shadow track down. We'll move that from 20 down to 19. And now we have to make a die roll and check that versus the Elder's honor levels. All right, and here is the honor roll for the Guilty Shall Pay. The result is a 2. So any elders with an honor level of 2 or less are going to gain a transformation token. And that means that Lady Handbrook, Dr. Manning, and Mayor Carver will all gain transformation markers. So we place transformation markers on Lady Handbrook, Dr. Manning, and on Mayor Carver. He's on the coast board area. Now, if ever any of these heroes, or I should say elders, have transformation tokens equal to their spirit, as an example with Dr. Manning, if he gets one more, that would be equal to his spirit, and that's going to kill him. It's going to have a lot of adverse effects for us. The shadow track goes up 2 points. We have 1 less elder to help us. It's not good. And that's going to complete the first turn. All we have left to do is to move the first player marker from Isabella von Tuch to Frederick Leone. He will be our first player for the next turn. And the heroes have really been hit hard by the forces of the Shadow Witch. Isabella von Tuch has a wound. Heinrich Cartwright has 2 wounds. He was able to pick up a clue, though, at least. And now there's several, we got 2 living trees deployed to the board. There is quite a bit of investigation that can be picked up, but they're definitely not lessening up on us for this first turn. All right, I think I'm going to end the video here, and we will return next time with a return to Shadowbrook and A Touch of Evil. Thanks so much for watching, and I appreciate your views and the likes, and I hope to see you again soon at the channel for episode 2 of A Touch of Evil versus the Shadow Witch, the ghost of Elaine Bartlett. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.